I think one of the worst things that happened in the COVID era is that our own government deliberately withheld information from us, from the American people, tried to propagandize the American people, used the arms and agencies of government to actively censor Americans who dared to question the propaganda, and they're still lying to us. And I'll give you the proof of it. I wrote the bill that requires the administration to declassify the intelligence assessments and reports related to the origins of COVID-19. Now, listen, I just want to say, everybody sitting on this dais has read these. I've read them. I guarantee you my colleagues have read them. I know what the Energy Department concluded. I know what the FBI concluded. I knew what they concluded years ago because we could read them when people like Dr. Fauci were out there saying the lab leak hypothesis was totally discredited and nonsense. You could go read the intelligence and know our own government thought otherwise. And at this late hour, this government still refuses to release the intelligence. They are blatantly disregarding the law that this body passed, the Senate passed unanimously.
Why aren't more people talking about this? Senator Josh Hawley just went scorched earth on a top scientist over the COVID lab leak theory. Senator Josh Hawley confronted Dr. Gary, accusing him of a propaganda effort against the lab leak theory of COVID-19's origins. For years, the origins of COVID-19 have been shrouded in mystery. Was it a natural spillover from an animal market, or did it originate from a lab? Hawley's push for transparency led to a bill requiring the declassification of intelligence related to COVID's origins.
The propaganda involved in the origins of COVID-19 is astounding to me. It recalls the worst of the wartime propaganda in years past, when the government would deliberately lie to people. And here that's what they have been doing with COVID-19 and are still doing it. You know, you had this whole cabal led by Dr. Fauci and others who, as soon as the lab leak hypothesis that we now know is a lot more than a hypothesis, as soon as it's mentioned, what did Fauci do? We know because this has all been litigated in a federal district court. In fact, in multiple federal courts. I've got the finding of fact from the court right here. They lay it all out. Fauci goes to the WHO, asks the WHO to intervene to discredit the lab leak. He then speaks against it multiple times from the podium at the White House. He then does countless media interviews. I mean, my gosh, what show has he not been on? He's still on TV, spewing this misinformation, as he would call it. But he did these multiple interviews where he says, no way, no how, lab leak not possible at all. And then he coordinates, and the whole federal government coordinates with the biggest tech companies in the world to suppress, and media companies to suppress any American who would ask questions about it. It's absolutely disgraceful. Dr. Gary, you were part of this propaganda effort. I mean, you were right at the center of it. It's astounding. You wrote this piece, this Nature magazine piece, or whatever it was, that we've heard testimony here today, Nature Medicine, March 17th, 2020. We've heard testimony here today from other scientists on the panel that it's basically an opinion piece. You said at the time that definitively SARS-CoV-2 is not a laboratory construct, Of course, our own government, key agencies have concluded otherwise. And on the basis of this, Dr. Fauci and others cited this piece and went out to use it to mobilize our own government to censor people who ask questions about it. People lost their jobs because of this. They lost their jobs, they lost their standing, they were kicked off Facebook, they were kicked off Twitter. Do you regret being part of this effort, this propaganda effort?
Sir, I was simply just writing a paper about our scientific opinions about where this virus came from.
Oh, no, you weren't. You said in an email that we now have that you tried to withhold, but that we have, February 2nd, 2020, you wrote, I really can't think of a plausible natural scenario where you can get from the bat virus, or one very similar to it, to this. I'm quoting you, I just can't figure out how this gets accomplished in nature. It's stunning. Of course, in a lab, it would be easy.
Well, of course. And I actually figured it out. That's the whole point of
You
that.
figured it out? You wrote this while you were writing your propaganda piece, while you were writing your paper.
I wrote that somewhere around February 2nd.
Yeah, it was exactly February 2nd. And you've testified that you were writing your proximal origin paper in early February. So you're saying that, what did it come to you overnight?
There was new data that
Like
came in.
a revelation from God.
No, it's
Overnight
simply
you
the scientific
concluded,
method.
I got it, I figured it out, and now I can definitively rule out. It's amazing.
Yet key information remains hidden. In a fiery exchange, Hawley exposed private emails where Dr. Gary admitted doubts about a natural origin, only to later support it publicly. Hawley didn't hold back, pointing to tech companies suppressing dissent under government pressure, leading to censorship and job losses. He pressed further, highlighting multiple retracted papers co-authored by Dr. Gary, calling out a culture of denial and lack of accountability. The call for transparency is clear. The American public deserves the truth about COVID's origins. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Will we ever get full transparency? If you found value in this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.